Here are today's stories. The Supreme Court en banc denies the petition of Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno against 5 justices in the quo warranto petition. A kidnapped Japanese tourist is rescued after 2 weeks in captivity. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas expects the proposed national ID system to address issues regarding money laundering. And Pag-asa warns of rainy days despite the onset of summer. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The Supreme Court en banc denied Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno's motion for inhibition against her 5 colleagues in connection with the quo warranto petition filed by the Office of the Solicitor General. Sereno accused Associate Justices Diosdado Peralta, Lucas Bersamin, Francis Hardeleza, Noel Tijam, and Teresita Leonardo de Castro of showing bias against her during impeachment hearings in Congress. Acting Chief Justice Antonio Carpio announced that the 5 justices had denied her motion seeking her inhibition from the case. During the oral arguments, Solicitor General Jose Calida told the 15-man high tribunal that it may assume jurisdiction over the quo warranto petition despite Sereno's claim that she can only be removed through impeachment. Calida maintains that Sereno is not fit to hold a top judicial post for her failure to comply with the requirements as provided under the law. Sereno's counsel, Alex Poblador, on the other hand, said the granting of the quo warranto petition would erode the independence of the judiciary. The Department of Social Welfare and Development will allocate about 34 million pesos through the Cash for Work program for families affected by the closure of Boracay. DSWD officer in charge Emmanuel Laico said the fund will be used as salary in the program that will run for 11 days. Each beneficiary will receive 323 pesos and 50 centavos daily based on the regional minimum daily wage. They will also receive 20,000 pesos for skills training in micro-enterprise development and employment facilitation, which will come from a separate 192 million peso fund. Based on data from the Malay LGU, about 30,000 local and foreign workers will be affected by Boracay's closure. A Japanese tourist was rescued by operatives of the PNP after being held captive for more than 2 weeks. Yuji Nakajima from Tokyo, Japan was kidnapped last March 22 but was rescued in Plaridel, Bulacan through the coordination of the Japan National Police, the Embassy of Japan, and the PNP Anti-Kidnapping Group. Authorities safely rescued Nakajima and a certain Vergel Lumage during the operation, while 2 Filipino suspects and a Japanese fugitive were arrested in follow-up operations. PNP Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa said continuous manhunt operations are still being conducted to arrest other suspects. PNP AKG Director Glenn Dumlao said the victim was ordered kidnapped by a former business partner identified as Usuke Obara. The suspects yielded a firearm and a fake NBI identification card. The PNP AKG said they are pursuing 2 other Filipino suspects, while Japanese authorities are hunting down Obara, who allegedly negotiated the ransom demand for the victim's family in Japan. 109 overseas Filipino workers from Kuwait arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport on Tuesday. Charmaine Aquiville, DFA Office of Public Diplomacy Executive Director, said that the DFA looking to repatriate 10,000 OFWs until April 22, the deadline for the extension of the amnesty. The DFA has already repatriated more than 4,000 OFWs from Kuwait so far. Each repatriated OFW receives financial assistance from the Philippine government through the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration and are provided with temporary shelter. The government also shoulders their transportation expenses to go home to their respective provinces. The Philippine government, which issued a deployment ban on Kuwait, is working on an agreement with the Gulf state to ensure the protection of the rights of the OFWs. Attorney Ariel Inton urged the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board to monitor the entry of new players that will operate as competitors to Transport Service Grab. The president of the Lawyers for Commuter Safety and Protection said the LTFRB must ensure the benefit of the public availing of services of transport network companies. Inton proposed the creation of a policy-making body that will manage operations of the TNCS in the country to counter the non-regulation of the Grab and Uber mobile apps, as well as the increase in applications and colorum units. The former LTFRB board member earlier called for the limiting of accreditations of transport network vehicles and the regulation of riding apps. The Philippine Competition Commission has suspended for review the merger between Grab and Uber amid fears of a possible monopoly. Still to come, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas expects the proposed national ID system to address issues regarding money laundering. Dengue cases increased by 182% in Pangasinan. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
The Philippines is well positioned today for sustained economic expansion. Its key growth drivers are stable, and its population of over 100 million Filipinos provide a young, competent workforce and a burgeoning consumer market. The Manila metropolis has reached its peak. The growth of its population has far outpaced its infrastructure's carrying capacity. Just 70 kilometers away from Manila is the next economic powerhouse of the Philippines, Pampanga. This province will be the strongest counter-magnet of Metro Manila in the near future. One can access opportunities found in Metro Manila without having to live in a congested environment. The Pampanga Megalopolis Plan is a strategic framework that aims to optimize the use of the province's key resources. 218,000 hectares of land and its 2.6 million people. An extensive circumferential road that will connect the key urban centers and outlying towns will commence this year, reducing travel time substantially. Likewise, the Clark International Airport, the 4,500-hectare Clark Freeport Zone, and the 9,000-hectare New Clark City are rapidly expanding.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas expects the proposed national ID system to help address the problem of money laundering. BSP Governor Nestor Espinilla Jr. said the proposed unified ID system is a major project that directly supports the country's aspiration for a more digital economy. He said the central bank is ready to recognize the national ID once it is in place to supersede all other IDs that it currently requires from its customers. The system is expected to solve or address many compliance issues related to money laundering. The House of Representatives approved on third and final reading its version of the proposed national ID system in September 2017, while the Senate approved its own version in March this year. Under the proposal, all 10 fingerprints and irises of each citizen will be scanned for the ID system, and a randomly generated number will be assigned to them for life. The physical ID will come later, and banks will eventually be required to have their biometrics reader. The Mindanao Development Authority has asked the Department of Transportation to craft feasibility studies for the 12 segments of the Mindanao Railway System project. The government is undertaking the detailed engineering design of the Tagum Davao City Digos phase, which is expected to be completed by June. The TDD is a 105-kilometer segment with an estimated cost of 31.5 billion pesos. It is one segment of the 830-kilometer Mindanao Railway network to connect major cities, seaports, and economic zones. It will have an estimated daily ridership of 100,000 at a travel time of 1 hour. Minda Assistant Secretary Romeo Montenegro said the proposal is for all the segments because it would take time if the government waits for the completion of one study before starting on the next segment. He added that there are many investors interested already about the project. Scores of residents are trooping to get barangay identification cards, which will give them access to Boracay during its temporary closure starting April 26. Manok-Manok Village Chief Chona Gabay said natives of Boracay are prioritized in the screening for the issuance of a barangay ID. The ID issued to local and foreign residents and workers who have stayed on the island for at least 6 months. The IDs will be issued in the villages of Manok-Manok, Balabag, and Yapak. New ID applicants are required to pay 200 pesos, while 100 pesos will be charged for renewal. Applicants are also required to show their birth certificate, government and school IDs, barangay certificate, and certificate of employment for workers. The Pangasinan Provincial Health Office urged residents to take precautionary measures against the dengue virus as it recorded a high number of cases in the first quarter of this year. The PHO recorded 982 dengue cases from January 1st to April 2nd this year, 182% higher from the same period last year. 4 mortality cases are noted in 2018 from 3 mortality cases last year. 10 towns and cities which have the highest number of victims are under strict monitoring by the PHO. Urdaneta City recorded the highest number of dengue cases in the province with 119, followed by Binmali and Mangaldan. The youngest victim of dengue is a 4-month-old baby and the oldest is a 69-year-old woman. Dr. Ana Teresa de Guzman, Provincial Health Officer, advised everyone to remove all stagnant water in their homes and communities, which could serve as a breeding ground for mosquitoes. The police intensified its operations against the suspected cohorts of an alleged bomb maker who was arrested last month in Palimbang town in Sultan Kudarat province. Chief Superintendent Marcelo Morales, Regional Police Office 12 Director, said they have identified several personalities who had reportedly assisted Indonesian national Mushala Sumina Rasim alias Abu Omar. Joint operatives were able to track Mushala's alleged safe house, where they found an improvised explosive device and various bomb-making materials. Mushala arrived from Balut Island in Sarangani, Davao Oriental, which is a traditional backdoor route for Indonesians entering the Philippines. Morales said the 32-year-old Mushala, who was allegedly involved in bombing activities, later transferred to Barangay Colobe in Palimbang, where he was arrested last March 10. The suspect reportedly joined the remnants of the local terror group Ansar Khilafa Philippines. Follow-up operations against several personalities who had rented and maintained the safe house are currently ongoing. Up next, the LTFRB assures the deployment of modern public vehicles with better access for persons with disabilities. Pag-asa warns of rainy days despite the onset of summer in the country. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
The Megalopolis Plan calls for contiguous geographical areas with complementing characteristics to focus on their respective comparative advantage. Pampanga does not aim to be another Mega Manila. Its strategy is to disperse economic opportunities, not leaving any of its barangays or communities behind. Its development agenda will always be strategic, inclusive, and sustainable. The fulcrum of the megalopolis is the Central Triangle. It's bounded by Angeles City, where the Clark Freeport Zone is located. The city of San Fernando, which is the administrative capital of the Central Luzon region, and Lubao, the westernmost town closest to the Subic International Seaport. Industrial parks, live-work-play communities, educational institutions, theme parks, recreation and entertainment establishments, hotels, commercial areas, and technology companies would likely gravitate towards Pampanga's triangle. Radiating around the Central Triangle are 4 opportunity zones: the Oropolis, Agropolis, Ecopolis, and the Equopolis. The Aeropolis are the twin cities of Angeles and Mabalacat, where the Clark International Airport is located. This will be a logistics hub to ship high-value goods to international markets and host the companies servicing airlines undertaking aircraft maintenance and repairs. The Aeropolis will also be ideal for convention facilities and recreation because of its convenient access to the airport. The Ecopolis would take root in two areas of the province: the western portion of Pampanga, where terrain is elevated, and the eastern portion with Mount Arayat as the anchor destination of this tourism circuit. Investments in outdoor sports and adventure facilities, conference centers, artists and craft villages, and boutique hotels shall be encouraged. The Equopolis is the wetlands of Pampanga, located at the southern portion of the province along Pampanga River closest to Manila Bay. This area produces shrimps, fish, and other seafood products, but seeks to diversify into tourism and processing. The Agropolis concept is intended for the numerous farming communities throughout Pampanga. Today, 60% of Pampanga's land area is classified as agricultural, mainly in rice, sugarcane, corn, and poultry. The potential for growth lies in its ability to diversify to high-value crops, adoption of higher-level food technology, and farm tourism. Pampanga in the future will be 22 smart and sustainable cities, a sprawling chain of urban centers punctuated by wide-open, green areas for its people to enjoy. The good quality of life in Pampanga is palpable. Fresh air, clean waterways, great cuisine, and peaceful communities that make it an ideal place to raise a family. Pampanga aims to move forward, unafraid of a volatile, uncertain, and complex world order. It is determined to seize its share of opportunities, openly welcoming investors who share its values and aspirations. Let us shape our future together. Invest in Pampanga. Invest Pampanga.
The Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board assures better access to public transport for persons with disabilities through PUV modernization. Board member Eileen Lizada made the assurance as PWD groups held an indignation protest in front of the LTFRB head office in Quezon City. PWD Group said new models of PUVs are hard to access and use for people with disabilities such as those in wheelchairs. Lizada replied that prototype jeeps and buses will have ramps and designated seats as well as lower floors to let PWDs ride easier. The LTFRB and Department of Transportation are coordinating with public transport operators to prevent discrimination against PWDs. Cebu City Police Office have arrested at least 70 drug personalities through its Oplan Pokemon. City Police Director Senior Superintendent Joel Doria said the operation accounts for 46% of the CCPO's total accomplishment in crime prevention. Oplan Pokemon is a modified one-time big-time operation conducted simultaneously by all police stations in Cebu City every week. Last week, from April 2nd to 8th, the CCPO confiscated about 130 grams of shabu worth over 1.5 million pesos. Police Station 9 seized 37 grams of drugs last week. Mabolo Police Station 4 recovered more than 37 grams, while the Pardo Police Station 7 confiscated 25 grams. Doria said they will continue to implement Oplan Pokemon and help Cebu City maintain its status as one of the safest cities in Southeast Asia. Small vendors may soon be able to cash in on the food park craze as the Quezon City government proposed the allocation of places for them to do their business or peddle their wares. Here is our report.
The Quezon City government plans to legitimize the livelihood of illegal vendors by putting up food parks that have become popular in the city and other areas in Metro Manila. Vice Mayor Joy Belmonte said providing a specific place where sidewalk vendors could legally sell their goods would alleviate the recurring problem of illegal vending. She said food parks have become a popular dining craze in the city, and they can be likened to food courts in malls with different stalls that sell a variety of unique food choices. Belmonte cited the well-known food parks along Maginhawa Street in UP Village, the Yard in Xavierville Avenue, the Box Park in Tandang Sora, and the Pazar Food Park in North Fairview, which continue to draw many foodies. She said sidewalk vendors may benefit from this concept, as most food and beverage stores at food parks are usually small, startup enterprises. Belmonte said through a comprehensive food park program, illegal vendors could be given sufficient assistance and training in business development and management, just like the popular street food hubs in Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. Belmonte said the program would hit two birds with one stone, reduce traffic congestion, and provide illegal vendors with a better means of livelihood. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Abs Abando.
Pag-asa has declared the official start of the summer season. Climate Monitoring OIC Annalisa Solis says the northeast monsoon has been replaced by the hotter easterly winds. Along with hotter temperatures and changes in wind patterns, the public is advised to be on the lookout for occasional rains and thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. Solis, however, says the country will experience a short dry season lasting only until the end of May, when the start of the rainy season is expected. Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's stories. The Supreme Court en banc denies a petition of Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno against 5 justices in the quo warranto petition. A kidnapped Japanese tourist is rescued after 2 weeks in captivity. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas expects the proposed national ID system to address issues regarding money laundering. And Pag-asa warns of rainy days despite the onset of summer. Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And remember, it's not about failing, but the getting up again. So don't be afraid to fail. It's important to get up, wipe off your bruises, and become a better person. And that's your daily dose of the news and information from the PNA Newsroom. I'm William Theo. Good day.